All right, everybody, welcome back to After the Tassel. I'm back after the 5-episode hiatus that I took. I'm joined here with Mandy Plybon. Mandy, you want to say hi?
Hello.
And Michelle Craighead.
Hey there.
And special guest Jerome Larkins from Veterans United. You want to say hi, Jerome?
Hello.
And we're going to kind of shift topics into looking into our kind of future employer perspectives and that kind of a deal, moving on from alumni. So Jerome, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what your role is in Veterans United, what you'd kind of like to talk about through this podcast, a little bit about yourself, your background?
Yeah, well, I'll start with me. My name is, I work at Veterans United. I've been there for about 2.5 years. I am a recruiter, so I work in HR, and I help facilitate hiring for a multitude of departments. I would say our audit, legal compliance, operations, post-closing, capital markets. I help source and find talent for those areas and vet candidates and get those people in front of hiring managers to hopefully fill a certain role within that. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy what I do. And I think I'm okay at it. I think I'm pretty good at it. And that's weird to say, but I mean, it doesn't feel like work every day, right? I mean, there's some days where I'm just like, oh, wow, what am I doing today? This is really interesting. I had like 6 conversations with people and hardly any of them were about work, right? So it's always a conversation when I'm interviewing someone or I'm talking about what we do. It's a very, very fun process. And I've kind of prided myself into making that process more fun and more engaging and not just answer this question. Now answer this question. And it's weird because I didn't picture myself in a corporate setting or at a, in HR nonetheless. So I started my own dance company in 2006 with some friends. So I guess I can go back a little bit farther. When I was in high school, I was a bit of a closet dancer and I didn't really tell anybody, nobody knew. I would see people do something. I'd lock myself in a room somewhere and I practice and I train. And then I started finding other people that were into the same things and started growing and learning more in the community and started traveling a little bit and doing competitions. One of my friends went and he did a tour with a small dance company. And he was like, hey, you should definitely apply to this. And at the time I dropped out of school. So I was at Lindenwood University. I dropped out because my mother had hurt herself on a job. So I needed to work. So I started working and I was dancing on the side, doing random stuff, not really making money dancing. But someone from that dance company called me, even though I didn't apply, and they said, hey, we're doing this Canada tour. We'd like to have you join us. So I said, well, let's go. My mom said, go ahead, go for it. You've always wanted to travel. That's been your dream. And I said, all right, let's do it. So I sold all my stuff and I lived out of a suitcase for 9 years and got to go to about, I think it's about 18, 19 different countries. And that was my vehicle. Dance was my vehicle to do that. So I was with that dance company and we went to 2004, 2005. In that time, me and my friends that were working together, we decided, hey, let's do something smaller scale because the tour we were with were big lights, production, it was a lot of money and people wanted smaller scale things. So this one gentleman wanted to contract us out, pardon me. So we decided, yeah, let's start something small, and it was based in Canada. So I was in Alberta, Canada for a while, but we got contracted out all over the world to do certain events and stuff like that. So it was really cool. And then I kind of wandered my way into working at VU. I guess I was tricked into an interview, if that makes sense. After I stopped dance, I was managing restaurants and bartending and doing all of that. And one of my friends worked at VU. I didn't know she worked in HR, but she said, hey, come up to my office. I want to talk to you about this thing. And I'm like, all right, sure. So we were having a conversation. She says, hey, Amanda's going to come up here too. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who Amanda is, but she shows up and she has really cool shoes on, and I complimented her shoes, and then we had this 30-minute conversation, and I was like, all right, well, I gotta get to work. I'll see you guys later. And I get my car, and as soon as I sat in my car, I go, wow, they just interviewed me. That was an interview. I didn't even think of it. And I called my wife and I'm like, hey babe, I just had a job interview at Better. And she's like, hey, what was the job? I said, I have no idea. So I did get an email a few minutes after that. And it was like, hey, this is the role. I think you're great at it. Let me know what you think. And I took it home to my wife and we talked about it. She was like, you'd be dumb not to take this role. So yeah, and now here I am 2 years later. So yeah, that was kind of my journey into VU.
Wow, that's crazy. It's like that saying. Oh, go ahead, Mandy.
You go ahead, Clay.
It's like that saying. It's like you find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That seems to ring pretty true with you.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast. I'm very lucky to work for Veterans United, and I guess I'm going to go back and tell a little bit about VU and what we do, because
Sure.
I know probably not a lot of people may know that, but ultimately we're an online mortgage company and we help active duty veterans and service members get homes. So we help them utilize their VA home loan benefit, which is a tough loan product to process because all the regulation and hoops you got to jump through, and especially after 2008. The mortgage industry, it's tough and it's heavily regulated. So we help them navigate that and make it the most streamlined, easy process as possible. And we try to do it with great customer service. And that's really very, very important to us. So in Columbia, that's where we're based. We have about 18 buildings there. We have an office in St. Louis, Kansas City, Texas, and 26 remote locations, and a lot of those are strategically placed near military bases, right? Because we're licensed in states, we can help someone get a home anywhere. And
Jerome, how many? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How many employees? Do you know how many employees do you have?
we're about 4,000.
4,000. Okay.
In Columbia, I think we're close to 3,000. So if not over 3,000. This year alone, I know yesterday we had a landmark. We hired over 1,500 people this year alone.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And I think I was in charge of, I think close to 20% of that. I think it was about 20% myself personally hired. So yeah, I'm blown away by it. I don't know how we did it.
Well, I'm just saying, if you need a candidate and like you're really needing some help, I mean, I can just sweep it back in the back rooms or whatever. I mean, I'm available. No big deal, though. I can send you my resume, cover letter, like references, all that kind of
Send that over. Send it on over. We'll talk. We'll definitely talk after this. But yeah, we've been doing it for 18 years, and those 26 remote branches, no military bases, those are a little more brick and mortar retail, so a borrower can walk directly in, get the process started. That's awesome. At here in Columbia and in St. Louis and Kansas City, everything is done remotely. Everything is done using technology. So we're never in the same room with our borrowers. We utilize emails and phone calls and DocuSigns to process everything. So it's all behind the scenes. Mandy knows. Great, really awesome. We've been able to build a lot of software. So we look for a lot of people in the tech field to come in and help us build a lot of that software. And that's been really cool. That's been really cool seeing that grow. We have a couple of sister companies as well, Veterans United Realty, where they help with borrowers that don't have a real estate agent, and that team specifically networks with real estate agents that know the benefit and they know the area that they're in. And then we have Military United Insurance on the other end, and they reach out to the borrower while that borrower is working with us and said, hey, you're going to need homeowners insurance. I can get you a free quote. Might even bundle that with car insurance. So we have multiple departments focusing on multiple things. Actually, we just started a new venture in Springfield, Missouri, and that is called Patio. And what they're doing there is they're focusing on conventional and FHA loans. So at VU, we can process any loan product. So we can do USDA, VA, conventional, FHA. But what we're really good at is that VA product. And I guess Patio now, they're going to be focusing on the conventional and FHA. That's all they're going to be doing. So they're going to get really, 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 really good at it. And we got a lot of awesome people down there focusing on it. We also have, technically, it's not underneath the VU umbrella, but it's a VU adjacent, I would say. It's Neighbors Bank, and they focus on USDA loans. So we do a lot of different things, and we feel like we're pretty good at it. We've been the #1 VA lender for the past, I think it's 9 quarters in a row. And that's quite the feat. But I think what we are most proud of is the fact that we are a people company. We try to focus a lot on people here. Are we perfect at it? No. But it means a lot to us to make sure that we focus on people at VU, and not just the people at VU, but the people that we're helping service and get into homes and the communities that we live in, and also nationwide. So creating ample opportunity for our employees to go out and make a difference, whether it's volunteering their time or money. And also using the VU Foundation, which is a employee foundation. About 90% of our employees donate 1% of their salary to that foundation. The company matches that 1%. And that money is allocated by a group of VU employees. So we just passed, I think it was like $52 million was the last I checked, where we've been able to help people, partnering with veterans, organizations, nonprofits, just locally. I had a friend that needed some help recently, and the foundation jumped in and helped them. So yeah, I think that's what we're really proud of. It always comes back to those values that I think you probably see if you've ever gone to our website. It's be passionate, have fun, deliver results with integrity, enhance lives every day. That's the why. That's the why we do what we do. Is it easy? No. Man, these jobs aren't easy. Mandy can tell you they're stressful, and you will have days where you feel like you got punched in the face. And we don't punch people in the face here. I just want to, for the record, everybody knows that. We don't. I'm in HR, say stuff like that. But yeah, you're gonna get your butt kicked. You're gonna have days where you feel like you've gotten beat up and spat out. But hopefully there are way more days where you feel, hey, I know I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. I'm helping this person get in their home, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. And I think the focus for us is let's get people into the roles that they're a fit for. Right? That person in a role that they feel like they're a good fit in, they're going to perform better. They're going to come in and be nicer to the people around them. They're going to be nicer to people at home, and it's not going to be hard for them to show up every day. So that we try to do that on the front end, focus on putting people in the roles that are a good fit for them so they can excel and grow in their roles. But that's us. I just ranted for a while.
That's perfect.
It's okay. You knocked out like four of our questions. So I think you did great. Jerome, why did you choose to join VU outside of your wife telling you need to? Why do you stay? Like, what do you enjoy the most about working for the company?
Man, that's easy. It's the people. It's the people that I get to work with every day. It's the people that I get to help every day. It's the opportunities to make an impact and make a difference. I think I was highly skeptical when I first was going to join VU. My wife worked for VU before I did, and she's no longer here. She runs a small PR firm, small boutique PR firm. She's great at. Madam President is what I call her. She's really good at what she does. So she was a loan officer for a little bit. She did great there. She was really good at it, but that wasn't her passion. So she went back into her passion, which was marketing. And now she's excelling and she's doing something that she never thought she'd be able to do. So I saw what she was doing and I was skeptical because I was like, man, this is kind of weird. These people are all really nice to each other and it's odd. And it made me, right. It just felt odd to me because I'd never worked in an environment where people would actively build each other up and they would champion each other. Even when that person wasn't around, what I would hear all the time is, all right, I'll see you later. Man, I really love her. She's great. You know, and I'm like, wow, what is that? That's really odd, but it's a really good feeling. It's like, man, do they say that about me when I'm not around? So,
It's so weird that unconditional kindness like that is so odd and so like not the normal thing in today's society, especially with like COVID. It's like everybody is already crippled down and broken, and like this is the worst year ever. It's like we could just benefit from the slightest amount of like nice comment, and it's still not normalized.
oh, man, I totally agree. And I think that's what makes it so tough right now, is because I love the people that I work with and I love to do what I do, and being isolated from them, it's tough. It makes the days a little bit tougher.
For sure.
That smiling face walking down the hallway, we don't get that VU experience where I'm at the vending machine and somebody comes up and is like, hey, what's going on? You doing all right? How's your daughter doing? How's your wife doing? Those conversations go a really long way. It makes you feel welcomed, and it gives you that just great feeling and pushes you throughout the day.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's great. So talking about, I'm jumping in, Michelle, I'm sorry. Talking about the vending machines, Jerome, I know there are a lot of perks for employees. And I know our students listening will probably really enjoy hearing all of the perks that come with being a VU employee. Can you, I'm kind of skipping around here, but can you share with our listeners, like, what do you get to experience as an employee outside of getting to work with awesome people every day?
I'm expecting vending machines to be at the top of that list. Like,
yeah,
I'm primo gourmet food vending machines. That's what I'm picturing right now.
I'll start with the vending machines, and I'll kind of work, I guess, right? So yeah, vending machines are great. We have free vending machines. They don't cost anything. So salty, sweet, whatever you want, it's in there. There's chips, there's snacks. Fridges that have.
Yeah, sorry, Jerome, I have to pause here. Clay is someone I can imagine and cannot stop laughing.
Sorry, I don't know what about it is so hilarious. Thinking about just like gourmet listing that on your benefits package, like 401k, health insurance, vending machine.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, if it's a big thing for some people, right? Some days working and you don't have time to get lunch, or you didn't bring lunch, you're having a VU lunch, you're getting chips and Reese's, right? So and we do have some healthy options as well. We have carrots and fruit, broccoli, and with dips and stuff like that you can have. Yogurts, we have all those different things are in there. Different buildings have different things, and it just kind of depends on where you're at.
Great.
So, soda machines are free as well, and people, we want to do that for people. The reason why we have those things is because people work really hard at VU, and we set the bar really high for them. So if you come in and you perform, and you're a top performer, and you communicate well with your team lead, and you communicate well with your team, and you are performing and you're doing your job not only well, but you're enhancing lives of the people around you, then yeah, you deserve some of those things. You deserve massages. We have 15-minute massages that you can sign up for, and you get called, and they have a chill room. You go into that room, you get the massage. Yeah, they're great. I miss them because we're not doing it right now. But I definitely miss that 15-minute just, oh man, you're ready to go for the day. And then we have great parties. We have a whole events team that plans our Christmas parties. This year it's going to be a little bit different. We're adapting to it, but it's going to be fun. We have events. We did a movie night the other night in a parking lot where cars just pulled up, and they did a big inflatable screen and showed, I think it was Hocus Pocus for Halloween. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, my family got to go and spend time together. So we have dedicated teams that focus on those things. And those are some of the perks. One of the most important things to me, I think, that we do is the diversity and inclusion team. And that is so important because we have a lot of people that work here that may have different backgrounds, that look different, believe different things, and we want them to feel included. We want them to feel welcome. So we have a team that's dedicated to making sure people that maybe identify differently with, you know, anything, or they just believe something, or they look a certain way, that they feel welcomed and that they don't feel threatened, and that they have a space to talk and that they are heard when they speak. So we have a whole team dedicated to that, and that's one of the most amazing things that I'm like, wow, we do that. We do that. People are comfortable. We make sure they're welcome, and that goes a really long way for a lot of people that have never had that before in their life. So
yeah, that sounds.
Do you guys have diversity training among your staff? I mean, it sounds like you have a very inclusive environment, but do you guys have staff trainings and workshops that you guys do?
Oh, so many. It's great because we have, so we partner with Inclusive Impact Institute. It's basically a small nonprofit that's coupled with VU, and they focus on diversity inclusion training. So they do it at, you know, community level, they do it at a corporate level, they do it for, you know, teams of people. If you wanted them to come in and talk about unconscious or, you know, implicit biases, they will come in and talk about those things and teach you how to navigate certain situations. So one of the other things that VU has done that's really, oh yeah, we do have lots of other trainings as well that are ran by people at VU. But one of the awesome things that I get to be a part of, that I run myself, is VU has these awesome things called small groups. And you can, they allow you to join one. So you get an hour, I think it's allotted an hour a week, maybe two, where you can go and join a group that you're excited about. Maybe it's a book group, maybe it's you're reading a book, or you guys are into movies. I have one, and I run one with my friend Jewel, and it's called Diversity Dialogues. So it was called Donut Dialogues. It was called Diversity Dialogues. We switched it to Donut Dialogues just because we wanted to kind of, I guess, diversify our group of people. Because when you use the word diversity, it scares a lot of people, and they think, well, I'm not diverse, I don't want to go. So we switched it to Donut, and we saw an influx of people that wanted to show up because they were like, oh, what is it? What's going on? We have donuts. We just have donuts. And
I know. I'd be like, where are the donuts?
I can say as a student, a donut would get me pretty much anywhere on this campus.
I just noticed, do you have donuts behind you on the wall?
I do.
That's too funny.
Yeah, they're sweet tooths, actually. So my friend that's an artist in St. Louis, he gave those for us for a wedding gift. So yeah, they're donuts.
That's so cool. I love it.
Donuts are
So I bring-
very special for you.
Yes, donuts are very, I love donuts. But in that group, we talk about everything from social justice issues to anything. We talked about music. What did we talk about yesterday? I'm trying to remember. I think we did, man, I'm blanking right now. Is that bad?
It's been a long 24 hours.
It has been. The week before, we did colloquialisms and regional slang terms, just like how people say different things. And then this week, we actually did code switching. So we dipped into code switching. And for those who understand, it's what code switching is, or know what code switching is, it's changing the way that you talk around certain people in order to make yourself, I guess, make people not feel threatened, or make people take you seriously, or just so that, you know, you're able to navigate a corporate setting. So around my friends, I talk a little bit differently than when I'm at work. I may use certain words that I don't use when I'm at home. So that codes, or wearing different clothes, or listening to different music, or, you know, so anyways, I'm sorry, I kind of went on a rant there, but.
We like rants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I got you all day for rants.
So Jerome, for students who are listening, and you know, they might be, their ears might have perked up with the free food and the parties, and I know VU gives swag all the time to employees, t-shirts.
I'm just saying, I have event planning experience. You'll see it all on my resume.
I think Clay would be
He's got his pitch down right now. He's ready.
Yeah. What you know, when you're hiring these 1,500 people in 2020, which I think is awesome in the midst of this pandemic, And I think it really shows that people really want to work for VU, and VU has this great reputation, both within the community, giving back to people, but also within the culture of the company too. What skills and or experiences do you guys look for when you're interviewing new hires, or for entry-level positions, or even for internships?
Man, so many. I think communication is key. Being able to talk to someone and tell them what you do, who you are, what you want to do, and why you'd be good at it. I think off the top, if you're good at that, at communicating with people, that's going to get you a really long way. At VU, we're a mortgage industry, right? We're a mortgage company, and we know, there's not a lot of people out there that are going to have a lot of mortgage industry background. That's, it's just one of those, especially in the middle of Missouri, like where are you going to find people with that kind of experience? There's not a lot of it. There's not a lot of mortgage companies. But we know that when we can find people that are kind to others, that communicate well, and that are detail oriented and very people focused, where they can talk to people and help them wherever they're at and be kind. Those people, if they're coachable, we can teach them to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. So being coachable, being flexible, and I would say those are some of the most important part. Actually, definitely detail oriented, task and time management, communication is key. That's the one at the top for me. I really like people that can just say, hey, my name's Clay. I'm really good at event planning. I do love snacks. And if you want to hire me, I'm right here, right? So I really appreciate people like that.
Jerome, we expect to see a job offer in Clay's email.
No, but no, seriously. In all seriousness, Jerome, I think you're like the living proof of everything that you just said. Like, you had no background in any sort of mortgage or even like office settings. You had no background, and I mean, you went to college, but you never really got the degree or anything like that. I mean, you had a background in dance of all things, which is, I think, almost the farthest thing away from working in mortgage. And here you are in a fantastic HR role, and I think that's a great thing that businesses offer. I know there's a lot of tension right now in the job market looking for things, and they're like, it's an entry-level position, but you need 7 years of experience, and like, we're looking for people with master's degree, and we're going to pay you $12 an hour. It's just
wow. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough right now for a lot of people, and we get that, man. We totally understand. We are very fortunate to be in an industry that was not hindered too much by COVID. Right? We were able to navigate it, and for us, luckily, being in a market where seller's market and people are buying homes right now, it's like, wow, okay, we're still busy. We need people. We still need people to come in and help us. So yeah, I think if you threw a rock at VU, you would hit somebody with that doesn't have, I mean, they literally have zero mortgage experience. You'll probably find a couple of people with a little bit of mortgage background experience. I had people they went to school biology, they're going to be doctors, they're loan officers now. I know people that were vet techs, and now, they're in operations. I know people that work in the restaurant industry, and now, they work in people services and just different places. Like, you never really know. It's about finding that right fit for that person. And one of the cool things I wanted to touch on, this is one of the things I got to be a part of in April, I believe. When COVID hit, man, everything shut down. And what our execs got together in a room, they were like, look, we know a lot of restaurants are shutting down and people are being laid off right now. I was like, they reached out to me and said, hey, we need to get a group of people. Can we hire some of these people that just got furloughed or that just got let go? And we said, yeah, let's do it. So I got about, they wanted me to do 15 people. So I found 15 interns, what we called them interns, coming in. And they were restaurant industry, service industry folks that worked here in Columbia, Flyover Restaurant. They worked at, I think, Bart Owl, Butcher, and billiards, lots of different places. They came from everywhere. So we were able to get them through a process, get them hired on, pay them $15 an hour. And if they worked from April to August and, they did well in that, and they stayed, they didn't miss too many days or whatever. They were allowed a week off. It wasn't paid vacation, but it was a full week that they could take off. They finished, they got a $5,000 bonus at the end of it. So 12 of those people are still at VU. We did 2 different programs like that. And of that first group, I think it was like 12 still there, 3 still left, 2 left, and the other 2 are still interns, but everybody else are full-time enrolled. So it was one of those things like, man, we got to help some people that they didn't have anything going on. So we got them in. So that was really cool. Some of them were my friends. So it was good to come from the restaurant industry and see people use that at VU. So
yeah, and I think that's really good to hear, just because like I think a general stress of being a student, especially in today's society, is that like whenever you pick your major, whenever you pick your your field that you're going to be in, you're locked in. Like as soon as you walk across that stage and you have that degree, there's nowhere else you can go. You are stuck in that field. And that's just kind of terrifying, especially because like I have gotten through like maybe a quarter of my life and I am just expected to do this thing for the rest of my life. It's scary.
And Clay, I would say be flexible too, man.
Definitely.
Don't just think about your degree, but think about your skill set. Think about the things that you're doing right now.
For sure.
You've done event planning, clearly. You've been able to do this podcast. That means something to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Show it off. Put it on your resume. Talk about it. When you go into an interview, all those things are important. That is important to you, and you're good at it, so you should show it off.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. So I say be encouraged. Don't feel discouraged at the moment.
Well, I think, being able to talk about your transitional skills, because as you guys were talking, being flexible and doing that career change, we're seeing a lot more people going back to school, getting their masters because there's just no work out there. Being able to talk about your experiences and putting it down, maybe not on a chronological type resume, but a functional type resume where it just highlights your skills, and being able to talk about those things too. You guys clearly are able to move people around within your organization. So tell me, what is your training program like? Obviously it has to be pretty top notch if you're moving people around so much.
Yeah, so it's different. It's different for every department. And the thing about VU is we're constantly changing. Even pre-COVID, a lot of change. Mandy will tell you, you will attest to this. Yes, man, we change things a lot. Technology advances, we've got to change our processes. Regulation changes. Now we've got to change the way that we do things and what we can and what we can't talk to borrowers about. So being flexible and be like, okay, all right, okay, what is my job? What do you need me to do? All right, I can do that. It is so important. And knowing that you are not going to stay the same. Your job is not going to stay the same. You're going to have a different manager. You're going to be doing something different. You're going to be working in a different building. They're moving your desk to the other side of the building. That's going to happen. That's VU. It's the VU way. It's the VU way now with COVID, even more change, right? Everybody's got to adapt. Everybody's adapting. We're all changing. So certain departments are a little bit different when it comes to training. Some training right now for operations, they have classes that are lasting about 24 weeks of training. You're doing like 3 or 4 weeks of training, and then you're going on the floor for a couple of weeks, then you're going back into training, and then you're going back on the floor and back into training. Some roles like loan officers or loan specialists, they go into training for 2 weeks. They have 2 weeks to get NMLS certified, and that is legally licensed to be a loan officer. And that is one of the hardest tests. I think nationwide, I think the record for that is like, it's 50%. 50% of people pass it. We have an awesome training team that we're able to push people through at about 72% rate of the training. So they do webinars, they walk them through everything that they need to do to study for that test. So it's a little bit different in different departments, but ultimately, in the training like that, and you come in on a Monday and they're like, hey, things have changed. You're going into training next week, buckle up, and you go in there and you just got to do your best and try to be flexible and figure it out. And if you push back and you don't want to, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard. And that's tough for some people. Some people, they need that consistent, constant, hey, I'm comfortable here and I want to kind of keep doing this. And there are other people that are like, I don't care, let's go. What do you need me to do? So finding balance in that is really important. So it's tough.
Yeah, and I think that's something that especially like that's kind of the shift from the last generation of workers to this generation of workers is like last generation, you sat at your desk did the same thing, you know, and that was just kind of expected of you. And it's just that you go in, go out, sleep, start it all over. Nowadays, it seems like there's a lot of trial and error. Like we're going to throw you here, we're going to throw you there, try this out, see how this works. And yeah, because like my dad, he's done the same exact job for like 30 years now and he just goes in, looks at a computer, and that's what he does. And here I am, like whenever I have a job, I'm doing different things every week. And like even being a student, I mean, my schedule differs day by day and it's very different. And I think that's just kind of a shift that people never really kind of expected, but also it's necessary, especially in today's society.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of people, like there used to be, you know, a custodian, he would come in and he would work for, you know, a company for 20, 30 years, right?
Right.
You don't see that very much anymore. I think the average now is 2 years at a company, and then you're jumping to something else. That's tough, but people, you know, they're like, this is really what I'm passionate about, what I'm excited, I don't know. And that's fine. You know, if you find something that's better, go for it. I wish you all the luck, and I hope that that's something that you're passionate about, that you'll be good at. I think with us, when we try to get people into a role that, yes, they're comfortable in, they understand it, and they can do well. Is there growth? Absolutely. Does it happen overnight? Heck no, it doesn't. It takes a lot of work. It takes a whole lot of dedication to your role and getting good at it. That's where I think growth and expansion comes from with us. When I talked about Veterans United Realty, when I talk about Patio, when I talked about Military United Insurance, I'm trying not to use acronyms, it's really tough. Talk about those divisions, they come from a small project. Sometimes it's like, hey, Clay, we love what you're doing over here. A really good job. We're starting this thing. Would you like to help us? Right? So a lot of our roles, there isn't a straight path. Hey, you do this for a year, 2 years, then you'll move to this for a year, then you'll move to this for a couple of years. It's just, hey, there's an opportunity for you right now. What you're doing right now in your role, you're really good at it, and you communicate really well with people. So we have this people-minded thing we'd like you to jump in and help us with. And that could grow into a company. Now there's 80 people at VUR, right? Oh, Military United Insurance, there's about 80 plus, I think, are there. I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers, but from small projects, ideas of, hey, we're going to try this thing, and we have the right people for it. So let's give them an opportunity to prove that they can do it. So yeah, at VU, there's not a lot of straight tracks. Hey, you'll do this job for this long, and then you'll be this, and then it just doesn't exist for us. We're pretty flat as a company as well. So there's growth opportunities on a team. So maybe you work really hard, you're doing great, and they make you a team lead,
right,
or manager. So there's opportunities like that, but I couldn't tell you, hey, this is your path.
Right. I'm glad you're getting comfortable using my name and, you know, preparing me for that. Anyway, Mandy, Michelle, you got anything you want to add?
I just have a couple, just because I have worked for VU before, and I just want to share my experience. I would say in my you know, how long have I been out of school? It's been so long that I don't even know. It's awful. Getting old.
I won't tell you how long I've been in school.
Anyway, in my experience with multiple different companies, I would have to say VU does by far the best training of employees, and it's consistent. It's holistic, and that's my experience in the account manager role in that part of the company. It's like my initial training was, I think, 4 to 6 weeks at the time. And that was within a classroom with a trainer and all the other new hires in the same position. And we all got our computers. We all got a printed manual that was so thick. And we went step by step through everything. And I am a planner. I'm a very detail-oriented person. I am very organized. I absolutely geeked out and loved the organization of the training department. And it's so good that there are specific people hired to be trainers within each department of the company. And I just love that. I think every company should have people dedicated specifically to develop these training materials, because everything changes in all organizations. And if you don't have people dedicated to provide that consistent information for the employees, you get piecemeal training or hearsay. Oh, should we be doing that? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. You know what I mean? So I love the training that VU offers.
I think,
employees, especially given that most people, like you said, most people don't have mortgage background. I had nothing. I came from museum education and a sociology bachelor's degree and a folk studies master's degree. And I became an account manager. So yeah, for people who have absolutely no idea about it, the training is by far so excellent. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of them. I'm so lucky to be able to, when I do a lot of the hiring, I'm hiring large classes of people, and they're all coming in same time. They're learning all the things together. They're walking step by step through it. So yeah, I understand that sometimes, yes, some people are going to fall through the cracks and they're not going to be able to pick things up, and they're not going to be able to keep up with the group, so to speak, right? And then there's other people that they get bored in a large group like that. Like, man, I am just, these guys won't keep up with me. And we understand that. And those trainers tend to understand that, and they keep an eye on people. They're watching you that whole time training. They're evaluating you, and they're looking at like, oh my goodness, Mandy is really good at this part. What's her track? Like, what role is she going to go into at the end of this training? Where can we put her? Where will she excel? So I love seeing our trainers do that, and people come in and are like, man, this person, these 5 people are top performers. So we've got to figure out something to do with them. We got to figure out a track that's going to fulfill them and keep them from getting bored in the role that they're in, and push them so that they can grow into something and keep going. And how do we get this person that's not quite getting it, but encourage them and push them so that, you know, we can shift their role a little bit and make it so that it's a little bit easier, and they're only focusing on one part, so that we can get them caught up eventually and into the role that fits for them. So, yeah,
Jerome, how does your process work? Because some of our listeners may not understand what a recruiter actually does. So how do you actually initially find your candidates?
Yeah, so luckily for VU, we've done a ton of marketing, and that's not just like direct marketing, but it's our employees posting things on Instagram, our employees posting things on Twitter, on Facebook, and hashtag VU rocks, which is a hashtag that was made up by one of our employees. And if you know, maybe your teammates do something nice for you and you post a picture of it and it has the hashtag VU rocks, that is marketing for VU, right? So we don't have to say, hey, look how great we are, because we don't like doing that. It's kind of gross, right? But we like people to feel appreciated, and we want them to do that. So luckily for us in Columbia and surrounding areas, people know who we are. We do a lot of volunteering as well. We are out in the community, and we do a lot of different things through our foundation. And there's so many different ways where we make an impact on people. Also trying to hire people that are very kind and very nice, and that are able to do that when they're out there. They're like, quote unquote, evangelizing for us, so to speak, if that's the way, you know, people see them like, wow, why is that person so nice? Why are they doing that? Like, oh, he works at VU. Why? What is that? So with all that being said, we have a ton of people applying every day. We have thousands of people applying a year. I don't know what the numbers are. Usually if I'm in the office, I can see how many interviews we've done in that year, how many people that have applied, and the jobs that we have open. There's boards that show it. So people typically go to our website and they read through. Right now, a lot of our roles are posted kind of generically and open. So it's not a specific, hey, you're coming in and this is your job right here, you're doing this thing. It's like, hey, we got people-minded roles, we got operations style process-minded roles, and we have results-minded roles. So people read through the descriptions of some of those, like a process-minded role, for instance, would be, hey, detail-oriented, task, time and task management. I like looking at checklists and checking them off, and I like keeping all my things organized, and I like working a little more behind the scenes. So somebody could read that and be like, oh, that's me, right? So they go through, they would apply to that requisition. Once they apply to that requisition, it's going to go into our system, and it'll show, it'll start sending them assessments and all these other things, and it'll show all of our recruiters their resume, and then we would look at that, and then we would check out everything. We take everything in consideration. We don't typically look at education, but their experience, their assessments. There are multiple ones that come at you, and then we decide, hey, do we want to move forward with this person to have a conversation? Then we invite that person in to do, if yes, we invite them in to have an interview, or do a video interview or a phone screening, and we talk to them and we give them a little more context. Hey, this is the role. This is what it looks like. This is what you might be doing. Or it may just be a conversation, and which they mostly are. It's just like, hey, what's up, Clay, man? How you doing? You good? Why do you want to work here? You know, what are you looking for? What does that look like for you? What does the future look like for you?
Well,
sorry, Clay, I keep picking. I'm not picking on you, but I'm just trying to an example. And we have that conversation, and we vet these candidates, and we try to see, hey, is this person a VU fit? You know, I wouldn't use the word fit. I would say, are they an ad? Are they a culture ad for the company? Do they look at those values and have those same values? Are they going to move with integrity? Are they going to enhance the lives of the people around them? Are they going to be passionate about what they do every day? Are they able to do the job? That's important, right? Would they struggle in this role? Are they going to be nice to the people around them? Those are all the questions we ask ourselves when we're vetting candidates and we're bringing them in. And we think a lot about that team that they're going on. You know, are they a fit for that team? And I think, would they feel comfortable on that team? So for me, that's what I look at as I'm going through and I'm processing someone, and I'm vetting candidates for a certain role. And yeah, VU is a great place to work. It's not for everyone, right? Not everybody can work here. We understand that. So it's tough. It's not an easy process to get through. Those assessments aren't easy. We want to try to find, and sometimes it's timing. There's some people that have applied, 20 times and then eventually got in, but sometimes even after that, you may not get it. So there's a lot of factors in there. And it takes knowing people sometimes. That helps, who you know, and reaching out and networking. I would say that with any place you want to work, definitely network, connect with people via LinkedIn, connect with people in real life. I guess that's a little tougher now, but phone call and chat with someone to get to know what they're doing, what they like about it, and learn more about that company. So,
Jerome, what kind of so with COVID and everything like that, job rejections have been an all-time high, and like the job market is honestly in the toilet. So it's very difficult to try and get a job right now. And I know a lot of our recent graduates have been struggling to get employed. What advice do you have for them? Like, what words of encouragement do you think you have to just kind of keep going? I know it's hard to get like a dozen plus rejection letters. What advice do you have to those people to kind of keep their spirits up and to keep try to apply?
I would say stay encouraged. Don't get discouraged, because hopefully something will come along. And it's really, with the tough market out there, you're going to have to show yourself off. And I think the most important thing when you're applying to different places to get into that room is you got to know somebody, or try to know somebody, or connect with somebody outside of that. So networking is super duper duper important. Knowing the company that you're applying for is really, really important, right? So think about what that company is looking for, and what that company culture is, and what type of resume would fit well with them, right? I have 3 different resumes, right? I have one it's really artsy and fun and you know, really different, and the layout isn't very structured, but it shows off the artistic side of me. That's what I did for years. It shows them that background. And I have one where I worked at restaurants for a long time, right? So it has a little bit of the artsy fun. Hey, I'm still a nice person. I want to talk to you and you want to get to know me. But then it has some structure in there, definitely with, you know, bullet points, paragraphs that tells me for that industry. And then for VU, I had a totally different one that was pretty structured, pretty corporately, because I didn't really know. I knew, but I didn't really know too much. And I did it backwards, right? I had the interview and then I sent the resume. So I just shot over standard one. A lot of overlap in all those resumes, all that information, a lot of it was the same, but sometimes it's the format. And I love seeing when people send over a resume that says, hey, this is who I am. You know, I'm passionate about this. I have done this. I want to do this. Right? If you can tell me those things, put the juicy stuff near the top, keep it one page. I don't need to have references on there. You don't have to put that on there, but you know, show off who you are and appeal to your audience. Know your audience, know who you're applying for, and what kind of company is this, and what would they like to see on a resume. If you're in marketing and you've done a lot of that stuff and you're applying for a marketing company, that resume better look really good. It better have some sort of, I don't know if you're into graphic design, if you have any in that, it's got to be pretty. If you have any projects that you've worked on and that you've done, maybe you've helped build a website, maybe you helped a nonprofit do something, put that on your resume, put a link to that on your resume. Because I was like, oh, wow, this person did this. They helped program this, or they helped do these things. Your experience matters, and you should definitely put it on there. And man, right now, yeah, it's tough. It's tough for everybody. People are losing their jobs. People can't find jobs. So I say, man, you just got to keep trying. You got to get on that horse, and don't be afraid to take a job that's not ultimately what you want to do. That's fine, man. You're gonna work jobs that you don't like and that you don't really want to do, but sometimes there's a time you have to do it. And it's terrible. I don't like saying it, but yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta take a job just to pay the bills, keep the lights on. I had to do a lot when I was in between gigs, and I was working wherever I could. I worked for Sprint. I worked teaching dance classes. I did everything I could to work at restaurants to try to make it to the next week, you know? So yeah, it's tough, but man, try to be encouraged and always be you unapologetically and know your audience when you're applying.
I love that.
I think you've made some great points. For our listeners, I want to go back and highlight that you said when you look at a resume, you all don't really focus on education. You look more at experience, and I think that's something that we try to try to share that with students as often as possible. That, and like Clay mentioned it before, you know, you have in your mind, okay, I'm majoring in finance. I can only be a banker. And that's going to be my life until the day I retire or the day I die. Like, so narrowly focused on that specific, this is the only thing I can do. I think by you sharing that with us today, just hopefully that enforces what Michelle and I share with our students, that yes, education is important. You're learning a lot of valuable skills, a lot of valuable information, but it's not everything. It's the experience that matters. The internship, the jobs, the volunteer experiences, the campus.
Especially internships. If I can give you some advice on internships, man, take that internship as an opportunity, right? The people you're working with, you need to network with them, and you need to do a great job while you're there. Don't think of that as an internship. Think of it as a job. Think of it as a role. So yeah, it's going to say internship on your role, but man, think about all the things that you're doing daily in that role. We have internships, and these people are doing real jobs. They're doing the actual work. It's not just, hey, getting coffee, or hey, we have this small thing we want you to work on. No, you're in the job and you're doing it. So approach it as such and treat it that way, as if it is full time and it's not just. I would say do that with any role if you're working in a restaurant, take it with pride, like own it and be great at it. As I said earlier, you're always, if I can leave them with your listeners with anything, you're always being interviewed. Always. You don't know when you're being interviewed until, you walk out and you're in your car. You're like, it was an interview. I just had this conversation with this person. Connections that you have with people and the times you get to talk with them, you don't know who you're talking to. I will tell you a story, and this is wild to me. When I worked at Flyover, I was managing Flyover. I bartended there. This gentleman would come in, him and his wife would come in every Friday, and I didn't know who they were, but they came in and I got to know them a little bit, and I knew exactly what they wanted. Most of the time I would kind of know what they wanted. I knew what his wife's allergies were, so I would go to the kitchen and make sure that they knew what was going on, and I tried to do everything to make them feel comfortable. And they were great. They're always so nice. They're always so kind to me. I went to the VU Christmas party that year with my wife, and she was working there. And this gentleman walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" And I'm like, "Hey, that's my buddy." And we hug and we're talking for like him and his wife for like 10 minutes. And I was like, he walks away, and me and my wife are standing there, and her jaw is down here, and she's like, "What is going on?" And I go, "Yeah, that's my buddy Brock." And she goes, "Oh no, I know who that is. He's paying for this party." So he was the owner of VU. He owns VU. Him and his brother both started VU. I didn't know who he was, but I always tried to be kind to him, and I always try to be kind to everybody, and I always try to have a connection with someone and have that conversation. When I started at VU, I see his face. I see his face all the time because we work in the same building most of the time. But it's always a big smile on his face, and he told me he was happy I was there, and that meant everything to me. Right? So that little conversation where I didn't know who I was talking to, I didn't know who it was, but that was an opportunity. And now they trust me with finding people to bring into this company. So that's huge. That's huge to me. And I took that job seriously when I worked at that bar. I tried to be really good at it. And I really liked connecting with people. I also connected with my wife's old Pat Cox. I'm going to throw his name out there, but he was the head of production at VU. I didn't know who he was, but I served him, and I did a pretty good job, I guess. He gave me his card at the end of the conversation. He's like, "Hey, man, I don't do this, but here's my card. If you're looking for something, let me know." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, my wife works there." And he's like, "Who's your wife?" And before I even got home, he had already emailed her. He was like, "I met your husband tonight. He's awesome. Why isn't he here with us?" Like, oh wow, okay, wow. You never know who you're meeting. You never know who you're talking to. So think about it as you're always being interviewed.
And that kind of goes back to the beginning of our conversation about unconditional kindness. It's like, always just try to be nice to people. You want to leave a good impression on literally anybody possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Michelle, Mandy, do we have much else, or should we start getting close to wrapping up?
Well, I just wanted to ask you, Jerome, so we talked about a lot of stuff today, but is there a question that you've never been asked before that you want to be asked?
Oh, okay.
No
And
pressure.
I like to tell our guests, it doesn't have to be professional. It could be like a personal question, whatever you want.
Man, that's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I can, if you couldn't tell, I can pretty much talk to anybody. And I find myself in weird situations where I'm just having conversations. And now my wife sees what I'm doing, and I'm actually interviewing people on the street. Or at restaurants where we used to go out to eat, the bartender's talking to me. I'm like, "Yeah, man, so you like, this is all you do, you know?" Wow. "Yeah, man, what do you want to do?" You know? So she's like, "Stop it. Please stop it." And I want to know. I really don't know. I've been asked so many random questions.
Jerome, what's the funniest or most random question you've been asked?
So I'm gonna take it back to dance. Everybody would ask, "Man, can you spin on your head?" All the time. I would get asked that question all the time. It was so random. And no, I cannot spin. I can't.
Have you tried?
Yeah, I mean, also like I don't have hair anymore, so my friends that did spin on their head, they have a bald spot here now. So I didn't really want to, but I tried a couple of times, but man, don't do it.
I would think you would really go away with a headache. Like I feel like that really hurt.
Bad for your neck, more than anything. A lot of pressure on your neck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't really answer your question.
Oh yeah, you did.
Can you spin on your head?
Okay, there we go. Hey,
Great.
Jerome, I just have one last question, and then we're going to move into the word of the day contest, and then we'll close with our rapid fire fun questions. But for students who are interested in internships, like Michelle and I talked to a lot of them all year round. Does your internship program have specific times when you hire? Are you hiring interns all year long? How can students find out more specifically about internships?
Yeah, you can go to our website and apply. We hire interns pretty much year round. We're always doing programs. We're always doing internships. So in the fall, we're doing an internship. In winter, we're doing one summer. We're doing one spring. So if you go to vu.com/careers, that's where you can apply. And it's laid out really simply. You can go through and upload your resume and put all the stuff in there. It's a pretty simple process, but definitely look us up, man. Go to our website, check us out, read about us. I mean, we got a ton of information on there, and there's a lot of stuff on there that I didn't even know and that I've learned recently. And I think recently we just got Best Employer in Missouri, and that blew me away. We got number 17 in the nation last year of best places to work, and that's really quite an accomplishment. And I think that comes down to making people feel comfortable and taking care of people, not only that work at VU, but taking care of our interns, taking care of our community. All that's important to us. So go ahead and apply if you're interested in it. And if you don't know what that looks like, or you don't know what you're looking for, you could read through. We have interns in every department, capital markets, which they deal with trading and hedging and all that stuff. And then we have interns in operations, we have interns in production, we have interns in people services. So whatever you're into, there's an avenue there. So check it out. Check us out.
If students are interested in contacting you directly, do you encourage that, or do you encourage them to just look on the website and apply?
Yeah, I would say look on the website and apply. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll connect with you, but I don't hire for internships. So you're kind of free, so to speak. If you reach out to me directly, I won't be able to help you too much there for those. But full-time roles, yeah, I definitely do some hiring for some of those. And I would say just go through that process. Put your application in. That's the easiest, the fastest way to get through. And also, yeah, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Jerome Larkins at LinkedIn. I guess I could. Yeah, there it is. Go ahead, connect, man.
We will, for our listeners, we'll include Jerome's LinkedIn information in the YouTube summary when the time comes when we post this recording. I lost track of my thoughts. Like, cut that out. lost track of where my brain was going. But for I'm going to repeat myself. For our listeners, we will include Jerome's LinkedIn information and the YouTube summary page for the podcast. So Jerome, the time has come for our Word of the Day contest. So for our listeners, hopefully you've been listening to all of our podcasts so far, and so this is familiar to you. But each week when we interview a guest, we ask for a word of the day. So listeners, if you hear the word of the day, email that to careersrv@wcmo.edu.
There you go.
That's so hard. So email us the word of the day and we will enter you to win a gift card to a local restaurant or a local retail store here in Fulton. So Jerome, what is the word of the day?
I'm going to go with passionate.
Love it.
Awesome.
Passionate.
I think that's really important. For us at VU, definitely something we focus on. But in anything in your life, just a little bit of advice, man. Hold on to your passions, things that excite you, things that make you happy. Focus on those. Yeah, if you get a job, you're doing something you're not super excited about, do that job, try to be good at it, but don't let go of your passions. If you're into music, still do music. If you're into dance, do dance. If you're into building things, build. Find time for the things that excites you and that make you happy, because those are the things that are worth working with and building to make yourself feel a little more complete and more happy every day.
I love it. That's a great ending, Jerome. So I want to move on to the rapid fire question. And this is, purpose is rapid fire, so don't think too much. First word. Think of it as word association.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word's probably, it's going to be an odd one. It's probably slobber. It's a really funny word, and every time I hear it, I want to giggle. Sorry.
I love it. What is your least favorite word?
Oh, mandatory. Man, I hate that word. I hate having to do things. So when I hear mandatory, it makes me a little uncomfortable.
Got it. I kind of want to rebel every time someone tells me, well, you have to do this. I'm not a natural rebel, but I automatically want to be like, no, I don't have to do what you're telling me to do.
How do you think I feel as a student?
Oh man, sorry, Clay.
What sound or noise do you love?
Laughter. Man, I love hearing people laugh. A full, gut laugh that they can't help. I want to laugh, and I want to tear up and laugh with them. So I love hearing people laugh. That's my absolute favorite thing.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate when people are under duress or distressed or under duress, where people are hurting, or I hear somebody really upset about something.
Yeah.
I'm instantly time to get out of this room. And I want to leave. I just want to crawl into a hole. I don't.
The uncomfort factor just skyrockets.
Oh man, it makes me so I think it's a high empathy level. I can't watch certain things like The Office sometimes, where Michael Scott's doing odd things. I'm like, oh my gosh. Working in HR, it's even where I'm like, oh no, please don't say that. Why is he saying that? So yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Wow. It's a really tough question, because I got to live my dream for so many years. My wife asked me that when I was working at a restaurant. What do you want to do? She's like, well, you work in restaurants now. What do you want? I was like, I don't know. I lived my dream already. I got to do that. I was like, I just travel. I would just travel. That's it. I would just go from place to place. I would meet people. I would talk to them. Maybe, I guess, a travel blogger, but I don't like blogging. So I just want to.
You could do documentary journalism or whatever that's called, where you're just interviewing people.
Why not?
Yes.
Let's do it. Ready, Mandy? Let's go.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
What profession would you not like to do? A heck no, I'm never going to do it.
Anything outdoors. Yeah. Hot take. I don't like hiking. I don't like being on boat. I don't mind being on boats or fishing, but I'm not a hunter or a hiker or doing things outside. camping. It's just not for me.
And I really thought Veterans United was for me, but
Yeah. Oh man, I'm
So-
sorry, Clay. I failed you, Clay. I failed you.
Well, Jerome, I want to thank you again for participating in this podcast. This has been a really enjoyable interview, and I really, truly hope that our listeners have really listened, taken away from your conversation what they need to. And what I've taken away really is you need to be passionate. I think trust your instincts, follow your instincts. And really
don't get
do something that you love. Yeah. And don't be discouraged by all of the rejections or the what I think is worse is the people who don't answer or don't give you a response, and then you're just left hanging. It's not, they just haven't seen, like I said, and yeah. Yeah.
Just stranded out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I mentioned it in another podcast, but it's important for you to remember, for anyone to remember when you're facing rejection or just not knowing a yes or no answer. If it's a no, if it's a rejection, or if you just don't hear anything and you move on, try not to take those personally. They just haven't realized the value that you hold. Yeah. And you're going to find a company, an employer that truly recognizes your skills and your values, and you're going to go really far in that organization. So just remember, just be hopeful, reach out to your support systems if you need some encouragement, and just really take that to heart. Don't take those rejections personally. Just keep going.
Thank you all so much for listening. Tune in next week. Sim of the day. Hope you guys have a wonderful time. I hope it's a great start to your semester. Yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be happy to get you in contact with Veterans United or potentially other employers. If you need resources, don't hesitate to reach out. Jerome, thank you so much for joining us. You were a fantastic guest. We hope to see you again soon. Do you have any words of goodbye you'd like to say?
No, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and talking with me. I really, really appreciate it. It's been awesome. Connecting with you all, and hopefully we stay connected.
Yeah, for sure, especially in these tumultuous times. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening. We will see you guys next time.